This episode of Cape Ann Today is brought to you by The Building Center, setting the standard for quality and service since 1903. We are back once again with Ethan Forman of the Gloucester Times to talk about all things happening here in Cape Ann and Gloucester, and there is a lot going on. How you doing, Ethan?
I'll tell you, really busy.
Yeah. Yeah, we can tell. So right off the bat, though, there's this really cool story about BioConnect's, GMGI, how that's all tied into possibilities now for the city at large.
Yeah, I'd been talking to the executive director of the Gloucester Marine Genomics Institute, Chris Balzan. About a month ago, there's a really exciting thing coming down the pike. GMGI, as you know, has a Marine Genomics Institute, which is very rare, marine genomics. He's studying this, and it's a research facility. But up on Blackburn Center, they have a biotechnology academy where they train young adults who may not have finished high school, might have a GED. They're not going for their science degree, their biology degree, but they are able to learn how to be lab technicians and actually get more intense training in the lab than if you were a biology major in an Ivy League school. Well, that's what so they have a workforce initiative, and which we've I think talked about, and which is exciting. They're actually expanding their cohort to about 40 people in the fall. So from 20 to 40, they've been able to get grants to expand their lab. And they were in the fall asked to become part of an effort called BioConnect's New England. It's led by Northeastern University. And what this coalition is trying to do is to create a regional biomanufacturing cluster, which sounds really scientific-y, but you know, if you're looking at biotech, you look at how drugs are made nowadays, it's not just a formula, a compound, but they have biologics. They grow the substance, the COVID vaccines, right? So part of making these vaccines is you need this biomanufacturing. It's the process. You know, you have the drug development, you have the manufacturing, but then you have the process of and that's what they want to create a cluster, and not just in Gloucester. They want to create a biomanufacturing cluster from Maine to Rhode Island. So Northeastern University is sort of partnering with GMG. I call it GMG. Massachusetts Life Science Center, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, Rhode Island Commerce, the Rue Institute at Northeastern University in Portland, Maine. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to create this biomanufacturing cluster outside of Kendall Square and the normal expensive biotech hub.
You know, Ethan, this is part of the Build Back Better plan, right? That came out of DC, is that right?
Yeah. So the idea is that they want to create this from workforce development to process manufacturing, and the idea is to bring all these entities together to involve community colleges. So expand the efforts of these groups to create a biomanufacturing cluster outside of the normal way. So what they're doing is, in order to do this, they need money.
Right.
So that's where the Build Back Better initiative is now.
And so you're talking about they're doing this in communities that were not Kendall Square, not the traditional biotech communities.
Right, because there's a lot of resource, there's a lot of talent.
Right.
It can, you know, especially with Jim G's model, which is you're taking people who don't have a college degree, they don't have a bachelor's of science, and putting them to work in good paying jobs that start off like $40,000.
And I think I read this in your column, that it was part of making sure people who have not participated in previous recoveries, economic recoveries in this country.
Yes, and that's the other thing. They're focusing on what they call gateway cities.
Right.
You know, so it's really exciting. They're trying to create something that involves communities that have lower income, or and give them something, where they can participate in the economy outside.
Jobs, like really good jobs.
Paying jobs. So what
Mhm.
happens is the U.S. Economic Development Administration, it's part of the Department of Commerce,
Mhm.
has funded. So we talked about Build Back Better, but this is funded. It's the Build Back Better Regional Challenge. It's a $1 billion worth of grants,
Wow.
and you can apply for up to $100 million. And so, long story short, GMGI is part of this coalition seeking a large amount of federal dollars. They have a good shot because there were 60 finalists from 529, and they've narrowed them down to 60, and they think 20 to 30 will get funded. So they got a kind of a 50-50 shot. I'm not a mathematician, but they can apply for up to $100 million. So even if they got something in the order of 50 or 25, if they got some, that would allow them to scale up what they want to do and really take GMGI's model to the next level.
Right.
Which is,
what's the timeline for this? Do we know?
they're working on this. They have to get their letters of support in now.
Yeah.
From the legislators. So this is probably something that we'll know more about toward the fall.
Nice. All right. In other news, Ethan, I noticed that local social media blew up over the last few days about a First Amendment issue and theater productions and school sports. What's going on there?
Well, it's a kind of an interesting issue. We have a local parent, Inga Berg, who wanted to get tickets to his daughter's opening night, and like me and many other parents dithered in doing that. And so what happened was he went to the school department, but he was waving a cell phone camera when he was talking to the school officials.
So he was recording.
So yeah, and then he took the video of the encounter and he put it on Facebook. And I think, it was like sort of a normal, hey, I want to get tickets, and he wound up talking with the assistant superintendent to try to just say, hey, this is who I am, and try to get some understanding. But he didn't get anywhere with the school department. But he did put the video of the Facebook video, they kind of on Facebook. And that's where it gets kind of interesting, because the school sent him a letter saying, take the video down because you're violating the state's wiretap laws that require 2 people to consent to wireless communication, to kind of electronic communication. And so he filed a lawsuit in federal court saying this is an infringement of his First Amendment rights. So we're there. Federal lawsuit. And this is not an easy subject, because there's kind of I see both sides. I would not go into a school waving a camera to interview people.
Particularly when the secretary, I think, objected right away. She said, please don't do that, right?
Right. And the interesting thing you could argue there is there was no conversation with her afterwards that he captured that had any content. It was just like, I don't want to be on camera.
Was she on the camera saying that?
She was on. She said, I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be on camera.
Yeah.
Then there was no conversation. It wasn't like then they had a conversation about the tickets and that was put up on Facebook. She was kind of said, I don't consent, and then went off. Now, when you show up with a photo and you get a photo or video of somebody, you're required to stop filming. Is it you have to erase everything before the non-consent, or do you get to show that non-consent? It becomes a very thorny First Amendment issue. Who is right? Now, I don't think it's right that I mean, there's places you can't take video, and if people say you can't do it, you can't do it. I think sending a letter telling someone to take something down from Facebook runs into a lot of different issues, and the post is still up. Wow. It does become a tricky First Amendment issue. It's like, you take a video of somebody in public. How public was this? Is the superintendent's office? I mean, you would assume it's public. Yeah, I can walk right in, right? You're not allowed to video in public. It just does raise a lot of issues.
Okay, but there is another important issue, and that is the fact that there are more performances of the school play, right? They added
that-
more performances so more people can see it.
His reasoning was, I need tickets. I need 5 tickets. You've cut the capacity of the school auditorium in half, and the state's COVID rule. This is like arbitrary. This is the school district's rules that don't make sense. That to me is less important. All right. I mean, you can have an opinion about that. Everyone's commenting. I haven't seen the comments, but that the hockey games are all the, the
There are
ice.
more people at the hockey games than there are in the school play. Yeah.
So, I mean, this performance is this week. So it's not like that it was all about opening nights, I guess. I can see why I'm a dad, I know, like, I'd be crazy. It's like, oh my God, I didn't get tickets to your play. So
The big lesson here is get those tickets in advance, right? Don't be sloppy or slow about getting those tickets. Is that right?
Yeah. And,
First Amendment issue.
I can be sympathetic to a guy who really wants to see his kids. I mean, but it's like, then it winds up with the school department saying, don't put, he puts it up on Facebook, and then, and it's a federal, I get a federal lawsuit. So I see both sides. I have a great respect for the Gloucester School Department. They do a great job. It's great school department, really trying to move the district forward. And then you have a parent who's like, these COVID rules make no sense. So there's both sides to this, and hopefully it'll resolve to everyone's satisfaction.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if a parent could broadcast the play live on Facebook while it's happening.
Well, no, you can't. You cannot record that performance.
The rights for the performance, the theater.
When you go into a school play, I remember this distinctly, you are not to film the performance. You are not to film, you have rights. I mean, that's not even part of this discussion about wiretap statute. You don't have the right to record that play and put it up on social media. You don't have the rights. The person who owns the rights to the work plays, or the schools pay a lot of money to get these plays, and you're only supposed to have that performance be shown in this theater to ticket holders.
Right. Interesting stuff. All right. And last, you have something, Heather?
Well, I was just going to remind people that Manchester Elementary School, Memorial Elementary School, had their 5th grade play last weekend, and there are supposedly 20 cases of COVID that were, there's an outbreak that may have come from the school play. So we still have to worry about COVID in schools.
There you go.
School play.
This is a heavy week of stories, guys. Yeah, all right, and actually, we're going to end on a sad note as well. The community lost a really good, sweetheart of a guy, and Mike Moose Morro. And you did a piece on that, Ethan?
Yeah, I'm working on a piece. Actually, thanks to Action Inc. and shout out to Butch Stearns of Boston 25 News, who did a wonderful, has been following his story and did a wonderful story with Mike. And interviewed him a couple of days before he passed away. Mike died of a rare form of B-cell lymphoma on Saturday. Very well-known guy, worked at the building center.
How old was he? How old?
He was 29 years old. He's got a 6-year-old and a 3.5-month-old baby with his wife, Jen. It's tragic. And he passed away on the morning when their wedding reception was delayed because of COVID. He passed away on the morning of their reception, which they held as a memorial.
Oh.
It's just, it's heartbreaking. His calling hours are tomorrow at Greeley. I did get them. I spoke with his friend who arranged to get a video of Tom Brady giving him the thumbs up and saying, hang in there, and shouting out to his kids. And I was just talking to the friend, and he was like, Moose had to watch this thing 5 times in disbelief. Anything made him so happy.
It was really cool.
Tom Brady is a legend. I mean, class act all the way, even though he left and went to Tampa Bay. But it's a touching story. It's not really sad. It's really touching. He touched a lot of lives, and he'll be missed. But boy, he lived a life. Get that memory. Everyone will cherish that.
Yeah, there is that. All right. Hopefully some better news next week. We want to send our love to the Morro family, and the building center family is really tight as well too. So we're all feeling that one. So, all right, great job, Ethan. We will catch you next week, same time.
Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you. Thank you, Gloucester. Thank you, 1623 Studios. Yeah.
Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.